Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Have you ever felt like games, just grab you, just literally just take a hold of your soul and just stick to you? Well, that's how I feel with some of these games, and I'm willing to talk about it. I think this is a subject that I don't think is brought up too much of, and so why not? Why not explore a little bit about that? Yeah, I know. It's a weird concept, but then again, I think everyone has that. At least every gamer, that is. Whether if it's a video gamer, a tabletop role playing gamer, who knows? But you know, games can sometimes be very, very much connected to you. Whether if it's in a literal sense or just metaphorically. For me, that's pretty much literal. Um, so in order to actually understand how it works and how you end up, getting connected to it, you also need to understand whether the game actually catches your eye and draws you in and draws you in enough for you to just be playing it for a long time. And therefore, we'll get into some interesting topics. To begin with, I think we'll go into my first ever game that really got dragged me into it. Donkey Kong Country on GPA specifically, but it doesn't matter whether if it's the SNES version or the GPA version because it's pretty much the same game. Anyway, uh, you probably know that it I was basically a kid. I've told this story before, and sure, but in general, I think a lot of I think this this subject actually fits into this video because it's the first game I ever felt deeply connected to. It was a weird concept, okay? You see a gorilla named Donkey Kong, who's not even King Kong, but you know, you get my point. And essentially began as the enemy of Mario and got his own spin-off game called Donkey Kong Country. Sure. Have any of you actually considered the concept of it? Probably not. Not even, and I'm meaning before Donkey Kong actually came out. Or Donkey Kong Country specifically. Donkey Kong, you know, that's a different story. Um, and I think a lot of people just wonder, wait a minute, where's the point in this? The thing is, Mario came from Donkey Kong. Therefore, if Donkey Kong, the game, didn't exist, therefore Mario wouldn't exist. Any of the Super Mario games wouldn't exist, basically. Therefore, if Donkey Kong didn't exist, there wouldn't be a Nintendo, any sort of Nintendo console to begin with. That is just a fact. Video games would have probably been discovered, sure, but way later. Probably way later. However, I'm just gonna say it. thank you, Nintendo, for at least giving us a gaming life, giving us a way to enjoy ourselves, essentially. I mean, without Nintendo, technically, it wouldn't. Technically speaking, there were gaming, like Atari and those, but those really didn't revolutionize gaming at all. Not like Nintendo. Therefore, Nintendo did a solid for gaming. But yeah, to actually get into the point of Donkey Kong Country, Donkey Kong Country was actually one of the first games I owned. Funnily enough, and it was the game I ended up playing because it felt unique. It felt different. It felt like a ridiculous concept, but a concept that I stand by. And it's literally pretty much what dragged me into gaming in general. The second game that actually, drew me in, which pretty sure, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was that one before, and like, I'm pretty sure that game came before the other game that I'm probably gonna mention as well, Kung Fu Panda. A lot of people probably didn't know that I was gonna bring it to this video, but Kung Fu Panda, the video game, is actually good. Yeah, I stand by it. It's actually good. You can't really get a better Kung Fu Panda game than the first game, in my opinion. I haven't played the other like console Kung Fu Panda games, but Kung Fu Panda, the video game, was a solid. Here's the thing: I didn't expect it to get a game at all. Sure, saw the movie; it was great, but the fact that there came a game of Kung Fu Panda of all things, that blew my mind, and that's what actually sort of dragged me into it was the fact that there was a Kung Fu Panda game. It felt like it felt like a completely different story without without actually without actually taking away the charm of Kung Fu Panda at all. Which I find interesting that they managed to actually do it somehow. THQ was actually I think, one of the, companies that actually, were behind it. And to be honest, they were behind a lot of the licensed games. But Kung Fu Panda was one of those good ones, in my opinion. Therefore, I stand by Kung Fu Panda, the video game. If only it got remade or remastered or whatever. I highly doubt it, but it is definitely a game that I would want to see at least at least re-released. At least re-released. Because that game was really goddamn good. But another game I actually loved playing that also drew me, like, kind of, you know, that I also got connected to was Ultimate Alliance 2. Um, for those who have played any sort of Ultimate Alliance game, most likely Ultimate Alliance 3, but if you're, as old as I am, then you've probably played Ultimate Alliance, at least either the first game or the second game. I haven't played the first game. I've played the second game and the third game. And the third game is actually exclusive to Nintendo Switch, unfortunately. But I'm gonna say it, Ultimate Alliance 3 is a good game. However, it kind of gets stale in single player after a while. Multiplayer is probably the better parts of the game, in my opinion, compared to Ultimate Alliance 2. Ultimate Alliance 2, I think, was the best Ultimate Alliance game you could get at all. Uh, that game actually had basically the choices affect the story, basically, sort of element to it. It's not like fully that way, but like there is that sort of thing going on, and you can also end up choosing a side, basically, either you know, because there's this sort of civil war happening in Ultimate Alliance 2 due to, disagreement between Captain America and Iron Man. Sounds familiar, right? I mean, there's none other place than none other than MCU did pretty much the same thing, except differently as well. Like, but yeah, in general, I think Ultimate Alliance 2 was one of the one of the greatest Marvel games at the time, in my opinion, because you got to play as not just the heroes, no, not just the heroes, also the villains. You could play as Green Goblin or Venom. Well, Venom is actually an anti-hero, anti-villain, and like somewhere along those lines. But Green Goblin. Now that's a sign. uh, Unfortunately, like unlike Ultimate Alliance 3, which I mean you still get to play as Thanos by if you end up unlocking him. That is. And there are other like characters as well that I think, yeah, Doctor Doom. If you have the DLC, you can play as Doctor Doom in Ultimate Alliance 3. I'm actually happy about that one. But yeah, Ultimate Alliance 2 was literally the game that I honestly got a lot of connected to, like got really connected to in general. It drew me in like a wildfire. Well, maybe not that far, but close enough. Um, what other Rule Legend? Sure, I was a kid, but it drew me in. Despite my fear, I just play the game. My fear of the of the failure screen in Brutal Legend was the one thing that I was afraid of at the time, and I don't know why I was afraid of it. But I still kept going for it because it was such a good game. In general I love the game, and I was practically 8. So yeah, based based on the rating system, I was 10 years too young. Based on the rating system, that is. But that didn't bother me. Oh, yep. Another game that I think got my uh got you know got me as well was actually Mega Man 8 for some odd reasons. Like a lot of Mega Man games I think were really cool in general at the time when I played them. But Mega Man 8 somehow stood out for me. It was so unique yet so interesting. And the gameplay felt how do I say this? Way more interactable than the other games, in my opinion. Like I'm not the biggest fan of the other Mega Man games in general. Okay, I can say this: Mega Man 11 looks great, and I haven't played much of Mega Man X, so I can't really say for that one. However, Mega Man 8, I think, was one of the coolest Mega Man games in general, in my opinion. I haven't played any of the other ones, but that, like that many of the other ones. I've played some of the classics and then Mega Man X, like the first game, a little bit, but Mega Man 8 was the game that I actually ended up playing quite a bit, honestly. Um, there was also this weird, there was also this Dragon Ball Z game that was basically so, it was pretty much like a beat 'em up Dragon Ball Z game, more or less, with really cool boss fights, not gonna lie. The reason why I ended up playing that one was because you got to play as Broly if you went into free play mode on any of the levels. The story was up to like Cell Saga, which wasn't really that surprising in my opinion, because if you think about when the game came out, I think the Boo Saga wasn't there yet, unfortunately. Even though I did, technically speaking, watch a little bit of the Boo Saga as well, like as a kid. It was the first anime that I watched. Therefore, you know, but yeah, that Dragon Ball Z game was really cool, and I honestly loved that game for some odd reasons. Um, Now on to the PS3 era. I think this is where, for my time with PS3, there were plenty of games. Honestly, there were quite quite plenty of there were plenty of games I played during that time. Some of them were goddamn goddamn amazing. Honestly, like if I have to choose one PS3 game that I just ended up playing, uh, like if there's any PS3 game that I probably didn't play that much of, I probably wouldn't remember it. Probably, but yeah. Um, so from PS3, I think what was the first game that connected me? It's definitely not Skylanders, that's for sure. Which game was it? I'm trying to memorize actually. Uh, Not Star Wars: The Clone Wars, or Star Wars 3: The Clone Wars to be more specific. Uh, Probably not Harry Potter year. 5 to 7, which was also one of the first games. Like the first games were just Lego games that I got for that me and my brother got for PS3, which was well at the two I just mentioned. Lego Star Wars 3, The Clone Wars, and Lego Harry Potter years 5 to 7. Honestly, if I would, because I also played the first one a bit more recently. If I would rate, if I would compare the two, I would say years 5 to 7 is probably the better one. Yeah, definitely the better one of the two. The gameplay in there is way more. Uh, how do you say this? It's way more fluid in that game. Honestly, like I think that game, the combat was great in that game, and all of that. Like I think if you want diversity, you would go with years 1 to 4. If you want really good gameplay, then years 5 to 7 is the better option then. But yeah, I'm trying to memorize. I think Army of Two, the 40th Day. That game honestly, I think was one of the more interesting shooter games, basically, where you get like you can be either single player or two player. Like it's up to two players. There because it's called Army of Two. Why would it why would it be more than two players? And the game in itself has a really interesting story. Like that part of the story, considering how many there are in total, there are three. I've only played the second one, which is the 40th Day. I think the first one was just called Army of Two, and then the third one I think was called Army of Two Cardinal Sins or something like that. Cardinal Sins. I don't remember the exact title, but like I like the exact subtitle. But like Army of Two, the 40th Day was had an interesting story. Like sure, a little bit darker compared to like some of the shooter games you might see. Army of Two had this unique gameplay cu- and gun customization in game. I'm not even joking. You could literally customize the gun in the game. You could get a grenade launcher in the game, which was interesting. The thing is, the thing that I think was really interesting made it a little bit challenging to get the guns in the game, like in Army of Two, the 40th Day, was specifically to get the gun. You needed to complete that episode of the chapter, basically, which was an interesting way of just going like, hey, you can unlock this weapon as long as you carry it all the way through to the end. And it's like this it's like it's not a dumb idea. Don't get me wrong, it's a challenge. But like I don't think a lot of people like this idea. I thought it was an interesting idea, honestly. So if I would choose this in the game, I would actually go for it. Like if anyone would come up with this idea, I would say go for it. I think it was an interesting choice, and I think they did pretty good job in it. Considering the game isn't that hard, sure, it's difficult at first when you don't know, like, when you don't have the proper, skills in shooter games in general. Um, what else can I add in? Uh, Lego Batman 2, DC Superheroes. The reason why I say Lego Batman 2 is because it's the first, it's a good game. It's a good game. I ended up playing that game quite a lot as a kid, honestly. Before the Toys to Life came, like before I got into Toys to Life, to be honest, it was one of those games that I just um played quite a lot, and it's one of those games that I also connected to quite a bit. Like, sure, you have like we also did play Lego Batman the video game, but it didn't connect me as much as Lego Batman 2. However, I'm still gonna recommend the first game. The first game is good. That is just a thing I'm just going to say, and it's a fact. I think a lot of people enjoy the first game. It is worth playing. The second game, however, I think is probably the better option in terms of the levels. The levels, I think, were just great, in my opinion. I think the implementation of the hub world was it was really good at the time. Like some of the things, I think, like some of the areas where you need to get the gold brick were kind of like it was an interesting idea at the time, but it didn't work that well for the whole hub world esque aesthetic thing. So like for that, so it's the reason why is because it's called DC superheroes, and then you just limit it to Batman and Robin, basically. So it was kind of like this, yeah. There was a lot of limitations when it came towards, um, getting all the gold bricks and stuff like that. But honestly, I don't think it's necessarily a waste of time to do it, though. I think the game is actually worthy of it. Considering, like, the thing is, the hub world, like, the challenges in the hub world may be a little bit bad, some of them. However, you get to fight enemies in the hub world, like getting into boss fights in the hub world. Lego Batman 2 was the first game to do this. Before Lego Marvel Superheroes took the stage in it. And other games started taking it as well, taking that concept. I think if we think about it, if Lego Batman 2 didn't exist, it would have probably it would have probably be come out like it would probably how do you say this? It would probably be discovered later on. It wouldn't be like completely, thrown away. The idea because this is TT games after all. So, but like, I think Lego Batman 2 was pretty much this revolutionary Lego game, more or less. Or no, maybe not revolution, evolutionary Lego game, actually. So in general, I think Lego Batman 2 was that sort of, you know. Now, on towards the next one, which I think a lot of people are going to be like, what is the next one? Toys to Life. We're going into the Toys to Life genre. As a kid, I used to play plenty of Toys to Life games to begin with. Starting with Skylanders Giants, the Skylanders franchise in general. And I think a lot of people probably just wonder whether I have those games or not. I did showcase them once, but you know what? I'll just showcase at least some of them that I have now today. I lost Giants and Swap Force, unfortunately. However, I still have at least um the two, no, three games that I got. Two of them are actually like the original copies. The other one I just got through eBay, essentially. Wait, where is it? Oh yeah, the other one is actually out in the living room. So I can't really showcase that one, but in this video, but that's fine. Uh, like, but just so you know, it was Scan Distributors. As you can see, I have Track Team. I don't have Track Masters or the Trackanium or anything like that, like the traps or like the traps or the Track Masters for this game at all. So yeah, that's one thing. Imaginators, however, we like. I do have the like I do have the senseis and the fuck, and the imaginators for that game. So like yeah, also some extra stuff for that as well. Like I think it was like the observatory or whatever, like level. Yeah, but hey, that in general, I think my experience with Scavenger games is like the reason why I got so drawn into it was the concept of Toys to Life. And Scavengers kind of just like got me into it. Like back in the day, I never knew who Spiral was. Yes, a lot of people are probably gonna be like, "What?" Yes, I didn't know what Spiral was until I way later when I figured out that Spiral was its own original character of its original um franchise until they shoehorned him into a Toys to Life game called Skylanders, pretty much. But yeah, I think Skylanders Giants, which was the game that I got which was the first game I got introduced to for Toys to Life, was a great game, and I honestly I would have I would literally want to get back to that game eventually again. It's such a good game in my opinion. Like I think a lot of people who have played Scoundrels before will agree that Scoundrels Giants, even though like it, some people may say it's worse, but I think a lot of people will probably say it is better, the better game of the better version of Scoundrels than Scoundrels Spyro's Adventure. It's definitely not better than like, for example, Swap Force. Let's just be honest. Swap Force is probably like is the best game. Let's be honest. Swap Force is probably the best game. A lot of people may disagree with me, but like if you compare Track Team, a hard like in my opinion, the hardest Skylander game, the only Skylander game with tons of bugs. Yep, it had tons of bugs. Even I experienced some of them quite frequently. In fact, I was playing the PS3 version, but still, I did experience them. Um, Ska, Skylanders Superchargers was also really fun, in my opinion. And Skylanders Imagineers, I mean, you're still gonna have a good time with that game. Like, it's, in my opinion, it's not the most impressive game compared to, like, some of the other titles, but it does its job, pretty much. And so, but here's the thing. Here's another thing that I think a lot of people are probably wondering. But what was? But were there any other Toys to Life games that you that I played? Well, the answer is yes. I think it was like a year later or so, maybe. I don't remember. Like it was a while. Like actually, it was quite a bit late. Like later, like it was later in the time that is where like it was also like quite when I was getting quite a bit of playtime on Slander's Giants. Disney Infinity rolled in, and when I saw it on like not necessarily a newspaper, but like uh like you could say it's sort of like a game magazine basically, or like electronics magazine more or less, but like it features a lot of games, so it was like again, it was the it was the time of games. It was the era of gaming. So games were really, was one of the bigger things. And I saw Disney Infinity. I was like, I really want that game. And eventually, I got that game. And to showcase, this is actually the original copy of Disney Infinity, the Disney Infinity portal. I don't have the games though. That's sad. I don't have like the first nor second game, and I never got the third game physically. That is. Well, if you think about Steam, that is, then technically I have all the games on Steam, but I don't have the physical versions of the games, unfortunately, which in my opinion are the better versions. Personally, I think the the physical versions are the better versions because the first game there was a way more life life to the first game in the console version. The second game, I mean, the only reason why you would play the second game in on the physical version is multiplayer. Let's be honest. This game did support up to like 2 players basically. And then 3.0, I think, again, is probably better on the console version, mainly because there are certain characters and play sets that that are exclusive to console versions because it got shut down, apparently. So there's that. My experience with Disney Infinity was that it was it was definitely like one of those magical games. It was also one of those games that also drew me in. I ended up playing that game quite a lot. Going in the toy box, just creating some random stuff, going into the play sets, playing some of the adventures there. And it was honestly a fun time, even when 2.0 came in, and then shortly after the disk drive for PS3 didn't really work. That's funny. And here's the thing: most of my gaming life was when I played games was without internet. So if you wanted to play with me, you had to literally come to my house and play. Basically, uh, or I come to your house and play. It was literally that kind of vibe, which is like the old school kind of gaming life you could think of, which in my opinion is the best way to experience games. Personally, that is the best way. Um, so yeah, Disney Infinity was one of those games that I just enjoyed a lot. And then comes the third game, third and last. In my opinion, I'm gonna count it as last because Starlink. Sorry, you don't take the spot. The reason why I say why I don't count Starlink is because you can already get them digitally. Therefore, I'm not gonna count it as a Toys to Life game, even though technically it is. Um, so in my opinion, the last Toys to Life game, a proper Toys to Life game that is, was Lego Dimensions. I do actually have the game here. I'm pretty sure. Yep, Lego Dimensions, a game that I think a lot of people have mixed opinions on, especially though, like then I mean those that probably haven't played the game. In my opinion, Lego Dimensions is the best Toys to Life game. A lot of people will be controversial on this, but compared to anything, the crossover in Lego Dimensions is second to none. Basically, no one like there's no other crossover game, especially Toys to Life crossover game that went as far as Lego Dimensions. I mean, we like if you like I do have the poster also up on the wall. It's you know, it's over there. You can't see it unless if I move the screen, but like, you know. Um so they added in DC, Lego Ninjago, because why not? Legends of Chima, it was on its last stand, so it was bound to happen eventually. Ghostbusters out of nowhere, Portal, specifically Portal 2, but Portal, Midway Arcade, ah, and that's The Simpsons, Jurassic. I mean, Jurassic World was there was already a game before that, which also teased Lego Dimensions. Funnily enough, Back to the Future, Scooby Doo, like all of these franchises are from that I'm mentioning are from year one. But wait, there's more. Year two comes in, and you get Adventure Time, Beetlejuice, Sonic the Hedgehog, Harry Potter in a newer style, um, Ghostbusters 2016 that no one actually wanted. What else? Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Lego Batman the movie, um, Powerpuff Girls, Teen Titans Go. I don't know why Teen Titans Go was in there. E.T., which is just obscure thing to add in. Lego City, specifically Lego City Undercover, which was a surprise. Uh, Mission Impossible. Like, there are so many franchises, so many different franchises in Lego Dimensions, and they're they're the types that you wouldn't expect in a Lego game of all things. So yeah, I think we should probably breeze through with it. But long story short, that's one of those games that I also got really much connected to. Uh, Other games. Let me see. Other PS3 games. Let me see. SSX. SSX was a is a really good game in my opinion. Sly Cooper's Thieves in Time. A lot of people like there are some people that don't enjoy that one, but I actually liked it. I actually loved it. In fact, the story may be a bit wacky, but like once you actually go through the story, it's fine. Really, the gameplay is also just solid in my opinion. Um, what else? I'm trying to think of PS3 games that I played before the ones that I have here. Well, actually, some of them I have already played, but you know, uh, can't really think of anything. Uh, Actually, Lord of the Rings War in the North, pretty good game, honestly. Uh, did I? mm, Let me see. Don't think I can figure out any other PS3 game. Like, actually, Madagascar 3. Yep, I'm gonna. I said it. Madagascar 3 is also a good game, in my opinion. The, the, the game is completely different from the movie, but it's a good thing. At least the characters from the movie is in the game. That's for sure. But like in terms of like um the story is completely different. Or like mostly different. So like there's nothing like in general if if you're expecting to you know experience the story in Madagascar 3 the video game, no. Nope, you're not going to experience the movie experience that is the movie story experience. It is completely separate and it's like it's a good time, honestly. Um Yeah, I don't think there's anything else I can mention or can think of at least. Now let's get into the PS4 era. What game? Dragon Ball Xenoverse. Both of the games. Honestly, amazing games. Definitely recommend playing them. Combat is just S tier. No, even further, C tier based on Dragon Ball Z. Not C, Z, like the Zeta. But yeah, honestly, great game. Oh yeah, wait, actually, I forgot one PS3 game. Oh, Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 3. My favorite Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm, like my favorite Ultimate Ninja Storm game. Just putting it out there. It is amazing. The story that you experience in the third game is unlike any of the others, and in general, it is worth it. Um, Open Storm 4 is also a mention. It's a really good game in my opinion. What else can I do? Actually, just showcase Ultimate Storm 4. What else? Micro Story Mode, good game, honestly. Uh, I could say Bloodborne, but then again, I haven't really completed, like, done much in it, so I don't feel myself to put it in there. Uh, oh yeah, Destroy All Humans Path of Fury was also really good. Also one of those games that I connected to quite a lot. Path of Fury. Although I do also have the remake for the first game. So yeah. Um, or like the remaster, technically speaking, not the remakes, but like um. Also, Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. Both the first and the second are good games. What other game? You know what? Since we're in the PS4 era, Spider Man. Yep, the PS4 version of Spider Man was honestly a great time. Uh, Borderlands was actually really good as well. I'm meaning Borderlands 2 specifically. Great time. I actually played that one quite a lot. Um, Trying to think what other. Mm, Actually, I can't. No, definitely not that one. You know what? I think this one is something that also connected to my heart quite well. Lego City Undercover, the PS4 version specifically. It originally came out on Wii U, funnily enough, and exclusively on Wii U at the time. Until they decided, you know what, release it to the other consoles, just so they get to get the experience of Lego City Undercover. It's not the same experience, but it's at least the experience. At least they get the story. So, and honestly, why wouldn't you want to play that game? It is GTA, but in Lego, straight up. And since you know Guardians of the Galaxy, Also, honestly, this was I actually got this game before I got PS5. So I think it was the last game I got before the PS5. I might be wrong about that, but like at least the last physical game. And yeah, do I have any other mentions of PS3 or anything like that? Hmm. Devil May Cry. Honestly, it's a lot of time. It's a lot of time with that one. Uh, are there any PS5 games I can think of? Spider-Man 2 was actually really goddamn fun, but I don't think I connected to that one as much as I did with the first one, unfortunately. I mean, no, I don't think GTA actually connected that much with me. Gears of War 3, I just memorized it. Gears of War 3, in my opinion, like compared to the Gears of War 1, and I've played just a tiny bit of Gears of War 2 before the controller just decided to not work. Gears of War 3, in my opinion, is the best Gears of War game I've played. I think a lot of people enjoy Gears of War in general, specifically like the first three games. And I think we all know what it is. It's the chainsaw gun mechanic. I think anyone can actually agree that Gears of War was one of those great games in general, and it's also what pushed forward the Xbox 360 to begin with. So yeah, I could also go into digital ones. Oh yeah, wait, actually, I think the only PS5 game, which is also technically speaking playable on PS4 as well, if you have the PS4 version. However, Titans Wonderland. The reason why I'm gonna bring up this one in particular is because compared to most games, I think most Borderlands games in general, I think Tiny Tina's Wonderlands actually does take a lot of things from Borderlands 2. Sure, some things from Borderlands 3 as well, like certain like maneuverability and stuff, but like a lot of the things actually come from Borderlands 2. Specifically the DLC, but like Borderlands 2 is literally, in my opinion, what was the intention behind Tina's Wonderlands. Sure, it's not as expansive, like it's like there isn't that much of content compared to Borderlands 2, sure. But what you get from Tina's Wonderland is honestly worth your time. There are so many like things in the game that I think some people probably haven't played the entire game all the way through. Understandably, considering it is a bit more, like more toned down type of Borderlands game compared to Borderlands the previous Borderlands games in terms of humor and stuff like that. But I think we all can agree that at least for some of us that have played it, it is a great time. The whole concept of Borderlands having a D&D like Dungeons and Dragons ripoff game, it like existing in there, known as Bunkers and Badasses. Yeah, it's a great time, in my opinion. Especially in multiplayer. I think multiplayer is probably the best part about any Borderlands game in general. But like single player is also fun, to be honest. Like I tend to play single player for reasons. You know, I think it's mainly because I just tend to play games. So when I end up playing a game, I usually just end up playing single player. uh, like it's also because I like if even if I try to ask, it's mostly gonna be a no whenever I play. Like mostly, not always, but like mostly because maybe they just you know or maybe because they don't play those games or something like that, which is honestly fine by me. I tend to play too many games, too many different games. But yeah, to just end it off, um, these games honestly have a special place in my heart. To be honest, even Tiny Tina's Wonderland has a place in my heart, and any other game. But the ones that connect me the most have that. You know, every other game that I've played does have a place in my heart, but the ones I mentioned has a bigger, more important has that special place in my heart, and I think those games are in general just great games, and that's what connected me to them. Will I play those games again? Most likely, yes. Can't guarantee for all of them, but most of them, yes. So yeah, I think this is pretty much it for this video. If you like this video, make sure to hit that like button. If you want to see more, or like if you want to support me even further from normal, then make sure to hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in another video. May the storm be with you.